Reserve time.
Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to a Western Digital Dota 2 Pro Series presentation of Scythe.sg Arrow Game 2 of the Best of 3 series, with Scythe going into it with a 1-game advantage. What an incredible game. We got out of Game 1. Over 55 minutes. Naga Siren playing a major role in how their epic comeback, being down 4 racks without even breaking a tier 3. It was a very difficult position for them, but they held through, they held strong, and they played an amazing game of Dota. And a bit of a Game of Throws on Arrow's part, but they're going to try to rectify that with this next one. If this series goes the distance and is as epic as we've already seen, then I'm going to be hoarse by the end of it. I mean, my goodness. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Sorry again about the connection issues. Right now, my ISP has been really inconsistent, and I've had a couple of technicians out, and it doesn't really seem to be changing. The baseline aspect, that cable is really crappy, but I'll try to bring you guys the best I can. In spite of that, even though I know I'm reduced my frames per second and bitrate and stuff like that to less than ideal qualifications. Either way, here it is. Game 2 of Scythe.sg Arrow. You can always watch in game if the stream isn't sufficient for you guys. That is the WD Dota 2 Pro Series in game, and this is just Series 2 of 6. So you've got a lot of a great Dota coming throughout the next couple months from this tournament ticket, as well as the exclusive Undying HUD and Ward. Again, this is available in the Dota 2 store. But without further ado, I've been jabbering enough about those aspects, the out-of-game stuff. Let's get into the game and check this out. I am Blaze of Dota Talk, happy to be broadcasting this to you guys. And now, looking at the draft, we do see that we have the opener of Naga Siren first pick from Arrow Gaming. They banned out the Batrider and the Lycanthrope because Dire Lycan is pretty strong, and Radiant isn't. Radiant Naga is even far surpassing, because we saw how well Miracle was able to just use illusions, use Riptide, and farm the Radiant jungle without even leaving his lane. In the meantime, though, the Invoker ban and Ember Spirit were taken off the table. They still picked up the first pick Naga, and Scythe answers back with a Nyx and a Shadow Shaman. Their plan is to gank up this Naga before her song can be used, kind of showing them how it's done. Obviously, Miracle knows the weaknesses of the hero as well as the strength, and it could be very effective. Get a Vendetta in there when she's not underneath the Sentry Ward, get an Impale, Shadow Shaman blinks in with a long duration Shackle, and that's an easy kill. But obviously there are flaws in the plan, and we'll see if Arrow can poke through holes in it. Otherwise, they're going to be in for a rough ride. Either way, another ban out of the Enigma, this time from Scythe. They are worried about that combination of Song of the Siren plus Ice Blast plus Black Hole. It's just a little bit too tough to deal with, so they are going to take it off the table, along with the Centaur Warrunner. So both those are taken out of the pool. The Clockwork ban, the Doom ban. Again, really strong bans when they don't have a stable offlaner, but that being said, Nyx Assassin is probably going to be run in the offlane. Anyways, so we do have a good start off to the draft, but let's kind of hypothesize what could be added to it. We do have the large amount of disable, a good amount of damage from the Nyx. They have some push with the Shadow Shaman. If you want to kind of supplement the push and be able to lock down a Naga Siren with some long-range disables, stuff like that, you can go with something like a Disruptor. If the Nyx is offlane, the Disruptor is the support. Then you can control the Naga a little bit better by glimpsing her back when she tries to TP during song, and that's a really good control mechanic, along with how it supplements the push. When somebody TP rotates to defend the tower, they have to TP a tower back, because if they TP to the tower itself, they just get glimpsed away and they're not in the fight whatsoever. So that's, in my opinion, really, really good hero. And they are going to pick it up. Wow. Good call there. So Shadow Shaman Disruptor, a great combo as well, because once you're all trapped in the kinetic field, you take more damage from the splash damage of those Mass Serpent Wards. And in general, he gives a lot of control. Like, you can get some great AoE disable with the silence. You can get some good team fight. And I think that's what they're looking for. Now Arrow have to be a little bit wary maybe of a Darkseer, because, well, no, actually, unless Nyx is run on the mid lane, Darkseer wouldn't make sense for lanes. So, might be wary of it just because Nyx is viable, but I probably wouldn't look into it as a 5th ban. Just kind of play it as it is, let it lie. Either ways, they have to get some good disables out. Right now they've got the Ensnare for the Naga, but she usually doesn't pick that up very early on if she's running in the mid lane. And of course, Ancient Apparition, his Cold Feet only comes into play if they're already locked in position for an extended period of time. So there are a lot of heroes that get coupled with that. The Shadow Demon is nice, but he doesn't kill off the Serpent Wards very well. Other heroes, there's stunning carries like the Wraith King that can do a lot there. But also there's a bunch of different options that can take advantage of the Chilling Touch with ranged attacks. Gonna go with none of that for right now. They're gonna pick up their offlaner, and it's gonna be a friggin' Bounty Hunter. I haven't seen this guy in actually a really long time. Obviously, the main plan here is minus a Furion still going Hala Hala Get Dala because they want to get the track gold and they want to get kills early. And when you think about it, Bounty Hunter works pretty well with the AA in the sense that Janata, Shuriken Toss, they're going to be dropping down pretty close to that Shatter threshold, and a couple of quick right clicks and that Ice Blast, and that's going to send them over the edge, which of course gives Bounty Hunter that track gold and give anybody nearby a little bit more momentum towards their next big item. The problem with this lineup now is, as I said, they were looking for something of a disable, some way to lock their opponents down. And because 3 heroes have absolutely none of that, other than the limited extent of Cold Feet and Ensnare, we get to see picks like Storm Spirit run around and not have to worry about a darn thing. Now, a Lion pickup is pretty viable here if they want the instant Hex versus Storm Spirit. I would say that's very strong. Also, Arrow Gaming does like to run the Sand King, so that could be effective in its own right if they can make the lanes work. Burrow Strike being pretty instantaneous. But either way, they are lacking in Disable, where Scythe have many disables available in multiple means. But the answer that they bring is Treant. I honestly don't like that pick. Like, I usually don't. I say, do what you want, play it how you would, but what is a Treant going to do against a Storm Spirit? The big thing that he's going to be accomplishing is limiting Storm Spirit's potential to go for solo pickoffs. Ball Lightning in, Dust of Appearance on Bounty Hunter, that usually means his death, but with Living Armor, you think twice about that. He's going to be able to tank up quite a bit and absorb a large amount of that damage. Still, if Storm Spirit isn't being controlled by somebody that can carry an Orchid, by really anybody with a hard disable, he's still going to keep balling during Ensnare, balling away from Cold Feet. This guy is just going to be bouncing about. Now, I think because they didn't ban Clinks, Arrow Gaming could consider that for Lance, because that is one hero that he does like to play, and it does bring in the Orchid. But Scythe are just really exploiting the fact that there is no lockdown. Now, I will mention that Overgrowth at the very least disables Blink. Doesn't disable Ball Lightning, but it does disable Blink, so they might have a better chance against Anti-Mage, but that's only until he gets Manta Style. Once he gets Manta, he dispels it with the active. So, Treant will keep their heroes alive, but it does not bring them much as far as getting kills. We'll have to really rely on the AA and the Bounty Hunter to do that. We do see, however, the Mirana coming into play. The Arrow is going to be quite effective in the right position, the right time, but if I had to just call the game based on draft alone, I would say Scythe are heavily favored. They've got push potential with Shadow Shaman Disruptor, they've got gank potential with Nyx Assassin scouting for the Storm Spirit, and Storm and Anti-Mage are going to be relatively free to move about with their cooldowns, with their Blink, with their Ball Lightning, because there are no silences on Arrow. Sure, Xiangzai can get the Orchid, but it's going to be a very delayed one by comparison to a carry farming it up. So, we're going to have a quick disconnect, then we will get out of the pause and get into the game. But for now, I'd like to hear from you guys in the Twitch chat. What do you guys think about Treant Protector, Ancient Apparition versus Anti-Mage, Storm Spirit? Kind of a weighted question, but hey, any lineup can work in competitive if you play it the right way. Already, Mosin starting off with his Living Armor, throwing it out on nobody in particular, but I don't know. I think that it obviously has this potential. They wouldn't have picked it if it didn't have any potential, but I think that Scythe has more going for them, just out the gate. But beyond that, there's only so much speculation as how it's going to proceed. Once we actually get down to brass tacks and see them fighting back and forth, we'll get a better feel for how it's going to play out. But for right now, I think it's very important that Bounty Hunter gets momentum early. That Xiangzai gets his level 6, gets tracking. Because if they don't have a gold advantage with this lineup, it's all in Lance's hand, or DDZ's hand, sorry, on the Naga Siren. DDZ is going to have to farm up a Storm in the mid, and I don't mean the Storm Spirit, I just mean a lot of creeps. And from there, of course, pick up a Radiance and other such big important items. Now we do have elongated pause, but Bounty Hunter is back in. Xiangzai seems to have resolved his technical issues, so I'm going to go ahead and start off with the player introductions. Looking over in the side of the Radiant here on Team Arrow. Once again, this is the Western Digital Dota 2 Pro Series. This is Game 2 of the best of 3 between Scythe and Arrow, and it is the semifinals, deciding who will be advancing forward to take on Titan in the conclusion of Series number 2. Another disconnect. Gonna extend this out, but that just gets more opportunity to check out this nice little showcase mode, albeit in a saturated perspective. Looking over at the Ancient Apparition, this is Johnny playing on this hero here, so going to be supporting it up and probably scaling up the Chilling Touch pretty early on. They're going to be aggressive with the Living Armor, kind of a tank and spank type situation, and from there we'll see what Mirana can accomplish. Interesting little pose here for her mount, but yeah, looking over at Mirana, that is going to be played by Lance. The building, the Moonwell is going to be played by Moonwell in the Radiant. Lance is going to be running on this carry Mirana, so we're going to be seeing some major emphasis towards early momentum-based items for him, maybe picking up just a simple Yasha, drums, phase boots, anything along those lines to get mobility and to get some early cost-efficient damage. Xiangzai reconnecting back in. He's going to be running on Gondar the Bounty Hunter. He's going to be taking, I believe, are they going to run it like a safe lane bounty and then run the aggressive tri-lane with Tree and AA? I don't know. I mean, it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't give hard kill potential because they won't be able to lock anybody down without like a beautiful arrow. But all the same, I could see it being beneficial just kind of poking at the anti-mage and making him unwary about last hitting. Anyways, the final member is DDZ on the Naga Siren. Going to be playing on that mid hero, rushing out the bottle, and he'll be trying to get that Radiance out as early as possible, a la Miracle Dota. And speaking of Miracle, looking over at the side of Scythe on the Dire, we do see that Miracle is going to be running on the Anti-Mage, split push at its finest once he gets that BF plus Manta up. Beyond that, we're going to be seeing him supported by Freedom playing the Disruptor. Polisson is going to be running on the mid as the Storm Spirit, another Bottle Rush build, one less branch, one extra pooled Tango. Oh, looking over the Nyx Assassin, that is Hannah going to be running on the offline Nyx, a couple of Tangos pulled to himself, so these supports are actually quite deprived of self-sustainability with their HP regeneration. But speaking of the last support, Chibi X is going to be running on the Shadow Shaman. I guess a hero that's a little bit more consistent when it comes down to the potential to actually lock down their opponent compared to Alchemist. So, we're going to start things off. The horn's about to sound, and both teams kind of scouting out the top rune. Long-range arrow is possible, and if they get lucky with it, Lance might be able to set up a first blood here. Anti-Mage has his blink skilled up, but does not have any vision. And is just going to be walking up, does get hit by the arrow, but there really isn't much follow-through. Like, Tree's not going to get in range for last hits. AA was already retreating back to the top, so arrow, some right clicks, he'll start off with a 200 less HP, and Mirana will start off with 100 less mana. But yeah, we'll see how the try versus try works out. That's going to be where most of the action's at. Meanwhile, it's going to be a pure 1v1 between the mid laners and the bottom laners, which I think favors Xiangzai on the bottom and favors Storm in the mid. Obviously, a Storm Spirit not having to worry about heroes roaming onto his lane for the first 5 levels always makes him more comfortable. Ooh, Mikasa. Oh, Miracle taking some hits. He doesn't have a spell shield until level 2 at the very least, and that means the Chilling Touch is going to be dealing some major damage. We see 2 right clicks coming in from Johnny, and I think Lance got 1 out before the blink. Now an active ward coming out, checking out the vision that it provides. You can see that it gets a pretty good idea of what's going on with this pole camp, and they can move to contest a little bit. Meantime, the bottles come out for the mid lane from both sides, and it's going to be mostly Crow Dota for them at the 3-minute mark. Maybe looking into the 2-minute rune, though these heroes don't like to leave their lanes when the supports are missing. But it's currently a lot of good ward coverage. We have the Observer ward up top here. Man, I'm hating my network right now. I'm Warner Cable. Such a distraction to have to worry about those technical issues. We're going to see an arrow fly, and I'm just going to thread the needle. Not going to happen here. I'm debating whether or not I should restart the stream at this point, because there is significant lag, but What the hell can you do? I don't really want to drop the quality of the stream too much more, so I'm sorry guys, but it's about 8% frame drop, and that's going to have to suffice. We do see damage coming in to Marana here. Lance will be shackled up, glimpse back into it, but the living armor keeps him up and kicking. And while they're retreat, oh no! We're going to have to leap and pop the salve as soon as Anti-Mage blinks in. But yeah, while Mosin is buying space for the living armor to keep Lance up, Johnny's right-clicking away, and he is delivering a decent amount of damage with that Chilling Touch, especially once he hits level 3. Still not exactly how they wanted it to play out, as Polasan is now picking up the first rune of the day, Regeneration. Huge rune for Storm. Even before Ball Lightning, he could still do a lot with it. Spamming out right now some Overload procs with that Remnant. Working itself out. So as far as CS goes, it's going to be Storm Spirit topping out 16 for 3. Naga slightly behind. DDZ's only 15 for 0. And Nyx is actually winning the bottom lane, though, and that kind of surprises me. Nyx isn't a bad 1v1 laner. I mean, he got pulled a lot of regen. I think it was like, what, 6 total tangos and 1 salve. And of course, he does have a lot of natural HP regen, as you can see here, plus 3.2 without any restoratives. And he did pick up the Poor Man's Shield early, so he can trade pretty hard, but even still, picking up CS after CS against a Janata, denying against this this bounty hunter, it's actually quite surprising and very impressive to see from Hannah. So we might see that right-click Nyx Assassin build coming out. It's not very common, but if Nyx Assassin gets a 1 versus 1 lane, we see it more often than not. Poor Man's Shield into phase boots, it actually makes his ganks a lot stronger than you'd expect. You don't expect that extra little bit of oomph to those right clicks, and he does get about 3 or 4 of those in every time he goes for a gank combo, including Vendetta. Still, Xiangzai is going to find more farm than an offlane bounty hunter would normally, of course, and he will be getting his level 6 at an appropriate time. Invis Rune going to be picked up by him. Will he make a rotation on it is the question. I think he just wants to get that solo experience, and once he gets track, he'll start roaming. So we're going to see Leech Seed come out. It's rank 1, but it's still doing some decent damage to Disruptor. He gets 1 good right click in, but you got to think about one thing about Tree in this setting here. Ooh, nice damage from DDZ. On to Polasan. He was bottle crawling. He is low, but he has his Ball Lightning. Magic Wand, bottles up, and now is in perfect position to just go ahead and bottle crow once again. But one thing, to consider, Mosin. How is he going to right-click when this is a 1.9 base attack time Treant Protector that's attacks are slowed by 15% because of Chilling Touch? Like, he's going to be attacking slower than any other hero in the game at any point in time, unless you're talking about Untouchable, unless you're talking about Lich Armor. But we're not. We're just talking about standard, I want to apply a Chilling Touch right-click, and it's taking a very, very long time. They can't change targets because of the bug that it kind of applies with negative attack speed. And in general, it's not going to be working out very, very effectively for them. They can't pin down Miracle. They can't prevent him from farming under his tower. And now we see that he's caught up to 18 CS. Marana has 23. Lance is only a slight amount of last hits ahead. Sure, he's gotten a lot of denies, but experience only means so much. I really do not think that this aggressive tri-lane is poised to be aggressive in any capacity. They're up against 2 great defensive supports and a hero that can blink out at any point in time, already sporting his 1-1-1 build. So they forced him to buy a magic stick. They cut his CS in half. That's good, but I don't know if it's worth drafting that lane. We'll have to see if their ultimates make up for it in the future. That's my opinion, at least. No. We do see an attempt to get the rune once again. The 6-minute spawn is denied by one of the 2 illusions. I'm not sure if it's spawn top or bottom, but either way, DDZ is on the ball, taking that out of the picture. So 1 more Bottle Crow coming out for Storm. He will get his treads with the next one, and his mana usage from there will be slightly more efficient when he does go for the toggle. Do see Chibi caught out of position a little bit. Nice Ice Vortex, but not in range for the Leech Seed. Treant meandering on at 300 MS. Chibi already having his boots of speed. So moving over to the 7-minute mark, we can see the net worth values kind of breaking apart and picking apart what is going good for Arrow and what is going even better for Scythe. Storm Spirit, Nyx Assassin, they are looking really strong right now in their lanes, topping out their opponent's net worth by somewhere between 200 and 500, depending on which lane you're looking at. Now Hannah able to gank with that Vendetta and is actually being even more active than a tracking bounty hunter. This is a level 7 bounty hunter still farming his lane while Hannah is already on the move. They have Ball Lightning, they have Bottle. Is Storm Spirit going to jump in? They have vision on him, I believe. Yeah, they know he's there, but it looks like they're just going to wait, and Hannah is going to try to move in once Nagasaion reemerges into the lane. So, has that Vendetta. It will be seen by the tower here. There is detection right through this path, but I don't think he cares. If he can get in range right when Polosan goes for the stun, it should still work out in their favor. DDZ has the Song of the Siren. They're going to go in, but can he choose the right one? Yes, Vortex on the right one. Vendetta is out, but there's the living armor. It's not enough. First Blood comes out. TPs are canceled times 2. 2 TPs, no siree. And that is going to be a huge momentum shift for Polosan, getting First Blood gold, 4,000 gold, and you just look at the experience per minute. DDZ is now 4th compared to those 2 solos, and Polosan finds it a Vizorin. Like, could it be any better for Scythe? This is just exactly how they wanted to start the match off, and it gives even more space for Miracle throughout the course of the game. He's going to rotate to mid. They're going to pressure top. They are going to get a kill onto the Disruptor, and that's just Ice Vortex, Leech Seed into Arrow. It's going to be super effective, but they're going to trade. Polosan's going to come up, claiming the Ancient Apparition, popping off the Invisorin for some extra bottle mana, and I think he will get the right click. Oh, Anti-Magic with a bit of body block. There's that Overload right click, and Leap is still on CD. Track movement speed, Living Armor, keeping him up, keeping him away. Is it enough to get him out, though? Anti-Mage right clicking with the mana break, bringing him low. Over here, Bounty Hunter gets stunned out, and he will get away. They dust him, though, and he will fall. In the meantime, hiding in the tree line, leaping and TPing. That is going to be a Lance, making a very close call, but escaping nevertheless. Conclusion of that is going to be 3 for 1 in favor of Scythe. They pick up the Bounty Hunter using the Dust of Appearance that was purchased by Chibi here. So, Polosan was a very gradual process. He didn't have enough mana to really seal the deal on any of those kills outright, but they did get the kill on Gondar in the end. DDZ farming up towards his drums, but he isn't even there yet. The courier is just now bringing it out. Is it? Corey? There we go. So we see momentum shifting for Scythe, and the only way the Arrow gets the kills back in their favor is by getting these ultimates out. And the only way that they're going to start pulling ahead in this game is if they get those kills with track on their opponents. So Arrow, their ulti usage is of the utmost importance. They have to be precise, they have to be on the point, but it looks like they're going to be the ones that are jumped on here as DDZ is the focus. Can they get the chain stun off? We'll see here. Electric Vortex pulling him in. Vendetta strike first, then the Impale. They will get this kill once again on DDZ without risking the Song of the Siren. Now we see coming in Xiangzai taking some damage, but they will have Mozen provide a buffer. Is it enough? No, Xiangzai getting right click down, bottling up. Polosan now out of mana. He's the one to get tracked up, and I think they can bring him down. TP scroll available, but Xiangzai closing in with the Shuriken. Pops the Shuriken. Polosan out of mana, bottling up. TP scroll mana 75. There it is. He will walk away. The arrow is not going to hit, and that is going to be a very important getaway. We do see that Treant did get the Shadow Shaman in the mid lane, so Chibi did get locked down, but they again killed DDZ, which continues to delay that Radiance. Though in this case, he did just make a purchase. It didn't shut him down all that hard. Still space created for Miracle. Gonna go farming up for the Battle Fury. That's definitely his objective right now. Is getting that at an okay time to go for stacking Ancients and flash farming as AMs do. We do see Lance. Living Armor is not going to be enough to keep him up, as that Overload is now skilled up to 3. 70 damage on top of his auto attack every single time he casts a spell. It is just too much burst for them to be able to deal with, and obviously the lockdown of Chibi was exactly what they needed to bring him down. Now Chibi, finding his level 6, able to push with Serpent Wards, and there is very little that Arrow can do about that. They've got the Ice Blast. They've got some good skills on their cores, but I still have yet to see this Treant be worth his pickup. Like, honestly, he's level 5. He's gotten 3 in living armor. It has helped stop the bleeding to some extent and has kept maybe 1 or 2 heroes alive, but it's pretty much all the hero has been able to do at this point. That and steal Johnny's Iron Branch. Invis rune available for Chibi, but they're not going to let him have it. DDZ uses his bottle, grabs it up with the Song of Siren, and they're going to look to ensnare. Chibi has the Serpent Wards, though. Maybe looks to trap. Do they have detection? The Sentry Ward comes down. The stun comes out onto DDZ, but the Shackle was interrupted, and Xiangzai will finish him off. Polasan gets ensnared. No, dodges it out to the high ground, and still delivering some damage despite being afflicted by Ice Blast. Hana has a stun. They're just going to chain it up. An August Siren caught on the cliff is being afflicted by the Static Storm, giving Hana the opening to just finish off AA, and now DDZ is chilling out up there underneath the sentry, despite the Moonlight Shadow. But Hana watched Carapace right-click. Xiangzai not getting the kill just yet, and Chibi comes in to save the day. Just needs a Shackle. Where's the Shackle? Not coming out yet. They dust him. He is slowed down during the Shadow Walk. Magic Stick would move him a little bit quicker, but it doesn't matter. Miracle's there with the block. The living armor only delays the inevitable as he gets right-clicked down. Naga Siren still caught up on the cliff. Dire do have vision of this. Is the glimpse going to get in range in time? No mana for the glimpse. DDZ will TP away. Ulti. Oh, if the mana void had come, that would have been hilarious. Mikasa with the mini stun, not in range, unfortunately. I know the stream is pretty bad, guys, and I do apologize for that. I've had 2 technicians out in 3 weeks consecutively, and there has been very little changing. Like, it actually improves for a day or 2, and then it goes right back to shit. So I'm probably going to call in somebody for Monday morning, but for now, we just kind of make do with what we have. Gonna see the Ice Blast come through. Frozen Ammunition from the Ancient Air Persian hitting hard on Mikasa, and with Xiangzai to follow with that big Janata click, they are going to be getting a clutch kill on the AM. Whether or not that's worth it for all those ultis committed, though, I'm not too sure. Overgrowth, 50-second cooldown, and of course AA's is a pretty short one as well, but they don't have any mana, and I think they're going to be falling back. Polasan just going in. He says, hey, you guys don't have anything to bring to the table. We're just going to right-click you down. Living armor only can do so much, and Johnny will fall. Polasan still with the haste rune. Mozen is his next target of choice. The arrow does hit on Chibi. Great burst from Xiangzai, but it's still trading 1-for-1 every single time. Now we see the Moonlight Shadow come on through. No detection just yet. They do some good AoE damage, but Xiangzai is the one they're pulling in. Stun coming out. Do they have enough? One more spell from Polasan, but he walks. Did he think that he died? I don't know. But a Remnant would have killed him. A Ball Lightning would have killed him. Dropping down to like 30 HP. He lives. Xiangzai, the boy who lived. Alright guys, I'm going to try a restart. Alright, well, I restarted the stream. Maybe that helps, maybe it doesn't, I don't know. But we do see down bottom lane, damage coming in. Xiangzai under tower, got a little bit too big for his britches. Thought he could break the shatter threshold, and instead gets locked down between the 2 supports. Chibi and Freedom able to get a great response and a very solid kill on a hero that generally has a crazy amount of potential to steamroll. This guy should have momentum, but he hasn't even found his drums, let alone in BKB. He's just having a rough time of things, sitting on a pretty low KDA. Now on top lane, Mozen going to be picked off, no problem at all, as Polasan just starts running all over the opposition. Hana going to come in, big vendetta, but unable to save the tower. The glimpse, though, might be enough to bring down Lance. He already expended his leap. Going to be falling, and with the Carapace, Hana actually doesn't get hit by the direct damage of the Ice Blast. Still, the debuff is enough. Xiangzai with the right clicks. They kill him, but giving them an opening where Storm can jump onto Johnny. So really bad time for the supports, just getting killed off left and right, and DDZ hasn't been farming enough to make that worth their while. Right now 5-1 and 5 for the Storm Spirit. He really is just snowballing and has his Orchid to boot. So 4-3 and 2 isn't bad for Xiangzai, but isn't where he intended to be at, specifically on the death count. Storm Spirit coming in. Polasan just as soon as he sees DDZ, he can see an opening. Only needs one person to help him out. Living Armor, it's hard to pierce through when it has all 4 points in it, but it just takes one extra hero and they'll have enough.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
So, looking over at the gold grass right now, actually, it's not going to be a pick off on the mid lane just yet. In fact, it might be a counter gank as Xiangzai is very close to Sentry Ward range. They put Sentry Ward within Sentry Ward. Who's going to kill which first? It is going to be Chibi eating the arrow, but Polasan jumping in hard. A great double stun from Hannah, and even Carapace Static Storm, Kinetic onto 3. Even with the Ice Blast, they just shrug it off and walk away, but Chibi drops to the Shatter. That's some track gold to the Bounty Hunter. Disruptor getting caught in the Overgrowth. All of them caught in the Overgrowth, and an amazing turnaround for Arrow as they buy back with the Mirana. Overgrowth hitting hard, and Mikasa is now trying to clean it up. Polasan doing what he can. Xiangzai, oh, his full mana. The Mana Void did nothing. Polasan dodges one auto attack. Can he dodge another? Dropping so low, but he is going to fall with the last right click. No, 2 HP! 2 HP! Polasan lives! And he walks away. Oh, they cleaned it up. The core heroes. Miracle. Polasan doing work to bring it back in for a 15 for 11. But still Arrow with a track gold. They put out 3 tracks in that fight. The Overgrowth secured so many kills. And finally we see the Treant making his mark on the map. My goodness. That was a much needed win for them. They go the Song of the Siren into the Overgrowth. Very effective. And it nullified for the most part that Static Storm Kinetic, which otherwise would have been devastating. There are 2 things that I want to highlight on real quick. One is the Sacred Relic coming out on the Naga Siren at this 19-minute mark. Much slower than the one we saw last game from Miracle, but still on par enough that it will make an impact before too much pushing ensues. As we see Tier 1 towers all healthy enough because of the Living Armor. The second thing I want to highlight on is the lack of Mass Serpent Wards. I think I've seen them once, if not 0 times. Like, it's sometimes hard to keep up with every single cooldown usage, but I feel like I haven't seen Serpent Wards at all this game. They certainly haven't been cast more than once. Now we see Mosin getting caught out. Too many disables, and he certainly is going to fall, but he's going to make them work for it with this Living Armor. 4 versus 1, they finally bring him down, but Xiangzai bottles up a double damage rune. And they might look for a turnaround kill.
Radiant's top tower has fallen. Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Ancient Apparition halfway to Aghanim Scepter in conjunction with the Radiance. That will be quite incredible, but they are starting to be pushed in at this point in time. The second tier 1 is going to fall, and they took the tier 1 up on the top lane, now committing Serpent Wards to the bottom one, but here's Xiangzai with that DD. Can he make anything happen? There's going to be a dodge out of the Impale, the dust nullified, and now they are the ones that are forced to retreat. A really good track and then move from the Bounty Hunter with that enhanced movement speed. And he scares them off, which keeps their snow that doesn't get their tower alive. In the end, Shadow Shaman gets the last hit on the tower. There is no deny, and there is no Living Armor to keep it up. So they do lose out on 2 towers. Gold going to go dramatically in favor of Scythe as a result, but still putting up a fight. Arrow with these tracks are approaching the Radiance on DDZ. Courier might be sniped up. No, he was just blinking in to steal up the Ancients, as he does have his own personal Battle Fury as well as the Vlad's. Looking at the items as a whole, we've got 2 drums up for Arrow, half of an Axe on the Ancient Apparition. Treant just playing the number 5 support, while Naga has finally completed her Radiance. Over on the other side, Scythe look to maybe go for either a Force Staff or an Aghanim's on the Disruptor. They've also got a Blink as well as a soon-to-be Force Staff on Hannah. Now we see the initiation. Wow, zipping very far, but finding the kill they're looking for. A great usage of the Orchid, and look at how far he jumped for that. He saw him go right in from that Observer Ward, and bullseye is the best way to describe that. Now Mosin getting picked off. No chance for him to get out of that whatsoever. Hannah is just too mobile, lurking in the shadows with these Vendettas, and if you look at the one thing that they're really lacking, it's detection. Mosin has one Sentry Ward on him, but where are the ones on the map? Radiant Sentry Wards are here and here, keeping their jungle relatively safe and making sure they don't have vision there, but it's not keeping them safe from those kind of snipes. Now the Fungus Iron will come out, but is Lance going to survive? Orchid brings him low, but not low enough. He will walk away with 160 HP. Glimpse pulls DDZ back into it, though, and DDZ is going to drop. They keep him committing the Static Storm just to make sure of it, but he's bottling. He's running with the track movement speed. Is he going to fall? Finally, they do bring him down. But the Disruptor did drop low himself, and everybody's on the run. Polasan out of mana, getting body blocked by the Nagasaran Illusions. He is going to drop Shuriken. Gonna get a double kill for Strong Zai. Of course he had track on those. Now refreshing the one on the Anti-Mage as he blinks away. They still lost to Tier 1 once again to those pesky Serpent Wards, but this is the first fight they can really feel like they actually won out on because they routed their opponents without using the buyback. Lance is now coming off cooldown, but it was really the first one that they actually feel like they won. The Overgrowth on the last mid-fight made it so that it was a pretty even exchange, but this is the one that they actually came out on top of, and you can see this in the Golden Experience graph in just a moment's time. Towers, though, dropping left and right. Tier 1s are precious, precious resources that no longer exist for Arrow Gaming as the split push ensues. Miracle with his Battle Fury. Serpent Ward's almost up to level 2, and look at just these farming patterns from Miracle. Pushes down on the bottom lane, clears out a camp here, goes right through with the Quelling Blade and clears out a camp here, blink across the river, clear out Ancients. Efficiency, 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 and he doesn't bat an eyelash before blinking into Roshan. Some Serpent Wards to help, but where's the Ice Blast? That's the question. It was just recently sent out, but I don't know where it went, so I'm assuming they don't know about this Roche. If they have an idea about it, they certainly aren't in a position to move forward with it. They have Song in 13. If the Song comes out, they might be able to snipe the Roche before the Serpent Wards do, and try to take the Aegis before the Shadow Shaman denies it. But beyond that, with the Ice Blast on CD, I don't feel that they can actually take a fight there. Along with that, Smoked Up, Scythe are all using this Roche as bait. So worst comes to worst, yes, they try to invade. Polasan just jumps in. Blink, Orchid, can bring somebody down pretty quickly, and he is rather tanky when you consider the treads on strength, the soul booster giving him 450 HP. Looks like the stream's a little bit better. Obviously, it's not the resolution and bitrate that I was looking for. So it is going to be a little fuzzy there, but as long as you can see it, guys, as long as you can see it, that's what I'm looking for here. At least for today. We'll try to improve the quality of that shortly after. Puppy Paws concludes. Now we're going to be seeing the scene unfold. The Roche will certainly be going to Scythe here, though. They are cleaning this up with the Vladimirs. They are in a great position to keep this within their hands, and Polasan's just creating space on this mid lane. They don't even get the track off on him. They get the Roche kill, Aegis on AM, and that's only 25 minutes in that they're finding a Roshan. Of course, this is Dire we're talking about. They're much more likely to do it than the Radiant, but it's still really, really important to do against the Nagasaran Ancient Apparition, because those two heroes make it certainly difficult towards the mid-game when the fights are really breaking out on equal terms. So, now, Miracle extremely close to that Manta style, only 100 gold off. He's going to get it right here, and he just hasn't been stopped since the laning phase where they had a lackluster aggro trying to shut him down. He's rotated, he's transitioned, and he's farming the creeps that the Radiants from the Naga should be farming. DDZ not getting the income, and Miracle certainly finding it. Now they're going to make a rotation on him, but he's so quick that it, like, everywhere he moves, it doesn't seem like they're actually close enough. Now, seeing what's up, Hannah, afraid of detection, blinks out and actually reveals his position. Fortunately, that distracts him enough for Miracle to just blink away. Very quick on his feet now that he has this maxed out blink, and we do see the Manta style also up and available. So more movement speed, those ever important illusions, and the ability to dispel overgrowth. That's pretty huge. Now, Ice Blast coming up top, frozen ammunition from the Ancient Apparition, headed towards the opposition. Polasan, though, not even going to get clipped by it. And, of course, high enough HP that it wouldn't have mattered with it being only rank 1. Oh, it's rank 2. Who knows? I can't do the math in my head immediately, but it would have hurt, though I don't know if it would have killed him. In the meantime, though, Freedom did get hit, TP'd back to base, and just barely survives within that last tick. He definitely dropped low, but still, I think it would have required 2 more ticks to actually finesse the job. So now Arrow is back on what would look like okay footing. They have their ultis. The Naga Siren has her Radiance. She's certainly farming. They have the means of accumulating cash for the entire team with this track. But the passive game is always going in favor of Scythe, because although the Storm Spirit benefits from snowballing, he doesn't have to be relevant. He still has his stun. He still has his silence. He's going to be looking for Scythe next, and that's going to be really all the items he needs. In the meantime, Anti-Mage, as the game gets more passive, you get to see him really flex his rat Dota muscles. He is farming like crazy, going to get the last hit on the tower, and now finding a last hit total of 216. A net worth of 15.6 grand, and really, it feels like it's going to be an even cleaner remake of the first game. Just rerun, I guess is a better word, but he's just farming, and Arrow don't have a way to lock him down. They do have Overgrowth, but he has Manta. They do have Ensnare, but he has Blink and Manta. It's just like he will be able to avoid those dangerous positions pretty effectively as long as he sees them coming, and then engage on his own terms. So for right now, just playing the passive game, farming the enemy's Ancients, farming his own Ancients, farming the enemy's jungle, farming the lane creeps, farming. He might as well just open his own little agricultural district, because he is on the ball with this quota that he's looking for. Right now, his GPM is 575. Arrow comes on a Polasan. Don't know if they can follow that up, though. Like, they don't have a team that just says, hey, I hit you with an arrow and now you're dead, especially not from that position. Lance dropping down, out of mana, and almost out of life. Oh, there's the ultimate. It is maxed out. This is a level 18 Anti-Mage, so getting the larger coefficient, 1.1 magical damage per mana missing, and that's enough to bring down Lance and the Mirana. So a huge advantage, a carry solo kill essentially. Now gonna hit the Ice Blast onto Anti-Mage, but he's just, oh, okay, good thing he had the Quelling Blade. He actually got stuck in the trees there. Mobility is really one thing that Scythe shine in. They control mobility from Arrow with this glimpse from the Disruptor. As well, they can force staff allies out of a bad position. That him and Hannah can both do that. They've got the Blink Dagger on the Anti-Mage. They've got the Ball Lightning on the Storm Spirit. It all seems like even if they do engage, Arrow that is, on Scythe, they can still disengage from anything other than the Song of the Siren. The Song of the Siren is really the only thing that they're afraid of as far as fights go. And for now, they're willing to play the passive farming game. DDZ, he's not active. He's sending out his illusions to do his dirty work, while, of course, Miracle, he actually meets his targets face-to-face. Geometry Sight now on Naga, trying to de-ward, but as we can see, not as effective as they want it to be. The Servant Wards come out. Living Armor going to be dispelled immediately, and now they're going to be able to bring those tier 2. Hannah jumping in, getting the stun onto Lance. There's a Ball Lightning as well, but again, the Song of the Siren is what keeps them in control. Now the Moonlight Shadow gonna burst hard onto Chibi. No problem at all. That's an easy kill, but the Overgrowth does come out onto 2. Now we do see balling around, Polasan getting a great stun, killing off the Mirana, now pursuing onto the Bounty Hunter. and that's easy pickings as well. Wait, what? I think he's joking, right? Is it? What?
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Miracle just picked up an Ethereal Blade on Anti-Mage. I don't even know what to say. Now we see Mosin dropping down to tier 3 down. I guess he thinks the game's over. Just he's like, okay guys, I got my Manta, my Battle Fury, my Vladimirs. That's all I need. Let's end the game. But he's also got this Ethereal Blade. So if by chance he sees somebody with low mana, pop, he's his own little shotgun. I don't know. I really, that's all I got. Is that his teammates do some good magical damage, and maybe becoming immune to auto attacks will find him in the right spot in a desperate situation. But more so, I think it's a troll pickup. Like, the butterfly would be 8 times better in almost every case. So I think it is just kind of to joke around a little bit, to say, we got this game no matter what I build. I've got what I need, and we're putting it to use. Already taken out the last outer tier tower. They've taken the mid, but he is going to be afflicted by the Ice Blast. No. Blink out. No overgrowth. Miracle walks away. The Troll Ethereal Blade. Next I want to see the Dagon 5. Slamming and jamming Anti-Mage. Alright guys. Wow. So, obviously, Miracle had a really rough game for game 1. It took him a long time to come online, relevant enough to push out of his own base and to really take the fight to Arrow. This game, not so close. Almost 14,000 as far as gold in favor of Scythe. They've got the 20 grand, and they do have control over Roshan as well, which should be spawning soon. So I do feel that they are very confident, perhaps overconfident, but when it all comes down to it, they have such an advantage that it shouldn't really limit them. They stole the Naga Siren's gem. They have a haste on a Storm Spirit with almost 1,800 mana on Intelligence Treads. And, you know, they got the Ethereal Blade on the Anti-Mage, so they're pretty much, that's when you win the game, right? That's the game-deciding pickup. I actually want to see him just, like, beat the crap out of somebody with this Ethereal Blade. I don't know who it's going to be, but, you know, he's got agility, that's for sure. He gets some good agi gain, 2.8 agi gain, naturally, so when you look at it, that's a pretty hefty nuke. Maybe not a Morphling Ethereal Blade type of nuke, but it's still a fun one. Now, look at Miracle's positioning, though. Like, he is fearless because they don't have any control. They don't have hexes. They don't have silences. They can't lock him down. He just mantas out of the track, and he's right back on the tower. The only thing that threatens him is Mosin's overgrowth right now, and he doesn't have a Blink Dagger. He has a Nature's Guise in, and a Storm Spirit will detect that out. Like, he's just trolling around because there's nothing to... Oh, he did the wrong order. He did the Mana Void and then the Ethereal Blade. The other order would have killed him, but no. Instead... trying for the arrow after the song. Instead, they fumble it, and Mosin is going to get knocked down. Moonlight Shadow not helping at all against the gem, but the silence on Pulson is pretty swell. No, he's on the side of the Disruptor. Brain fart there. But anyways, Miracle is going to come in to finish the job here on enemies, on racks, whatever he feels like hitting, because they just don't have control. The Overgrowth is the only thing that stops Anti-Mage, and that's only if his Manta's on cooldown. So he gets to troll around, he gets to have fun, because the draft from Arrow was just not on point. Like I said, the first 3 pickups had no disable at all, and their 4th pick was a tree. So yes, they 4th pick a Storm Spirit, yes, they pick a 5th pick an Anti-Mage. And it's not even like, oh no, they picked that lineup and they didn't ban Anti-Mage. There's like tons of different heroes that can thrive in that environment. Morphling, Weaver, both great heroes that can split push a ton, that thrive in an environment where there's no disables. In general, I don't think that this draft was great. Mosin got 1 good ulti off. He living armored like crazy, so their tier 1 survived for a while. But eventually the wards were committed, and the momentum came in for Scythe. Now we see Roche number 2 dropping down in the hands of Scythe Gaming. And this is going to be an easy pick for them. So, at this point in the game, we are seeing a 20,000 gold advantage. We are seeing a 25 grand experience advantage, and not a single item on Arrow Gaming could possibly compare to what we see on Scythe. We've got this Storm Spirit now with Aegis, as well as his Sheep Orchid Bloodstone. Speaking of which, that Bloodstone has 13 charges on it, so a relatively quick respawn. And now they're going to smoke up. Double damage will expire, but they'll still be able to put pressure out because there's no map vision, there's no control for Arrow. So if they want to try to snipe DDD, they have a small opening for that. Otherwise, they'll just walk right over top of this observer ward and find a pick on somebody in the mid. Aghanim Scepter up for the Ancient Apparition for whatever that's worth. We'll see if they can do anything with it with some big Treant overgrowth actions. Amaris RS Dota for Mozen. But now the zip in, going in. Xiangzai going to be picked off. Orchided didn't even use the Scythe yet, so they will hex up Lance with the Shadow Shaman spell, committing all their cooldowns. Now it's Johnny to be hexed. He didn't even get a good Ice Blast off, and he is going to get locked down with one more right click. The Mozen's ultimate wasn't relevant enough, and they will be finished off here. DDZ throws out the net. He might get one kill, but that's the only thing they can take away from it. They will call the GG. Scythe take it 28-15, and it's not even about the kills. It's about just this huge amount of control that essentially Storm and Anti-Mage can do 2v5. There is absolutely nothing to stop them from doing so, and 36.5 minutes in, Scythe sealed the deal on this match. Not quite as back and forth as the first game was, but still a pretty interesting one. We love to see some Miracle Anti-Mage, and hell, an Ethereal Blade is padding some interesting new Dota stats. So there you go, 710 GPM. Miracle takes it away, and of course, on the back of all of his teammates. Scythe performed amazingly. Polason in that last game with the Ethereal Blade, Aghanim's Queen of Pain did a ton of work towards the mid to late game, and Storm Spirit did a huge amount of work here. I mean, he found 12, 2, and 12 in his KDA. Just incredible. Polason and Miracle, definitely the MVPs. Don't want to take it away from the supports, but when you got cores as good as this, it's hard to outshine them. That's going to conclude it for us here, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this Best of 3 series. It's a 2-0 victory for Scythe, and they will advance forward to the finals against Titan. We have to reschedule that up, so I'm not exactly sure who is... I'm not exactly sure when that's going to be. They have to schedule it, but it is going to be broadcast here on Dota Talk TV 2. So if you want to check out the conclusion of Series number 2 of the Western Digital Dota 2 Pro Series, follow the live stream, and that's where it'll be at. Or you can always purchase the in-game ticket and support the event directly. So we thank you guys so much for joining us here, and we hope that you guys have a great evening. I myself am Blaze of Dota Talk. If you enjoyed the commentary, and I do apologize for the technical issues, luckily we got them resolved to some extent by the end of it, but if you did enjoy the commentary, you can follow me on twitter.com/blazecasting, and I will be uploading VODs to youtube.com/blazecasting, so if you want to support me there, I greatly appreciate it. Otherwise, you can just throw me some constructive criticism, because I always aim to improve as I try to bring you guys the best I can in these games. Again, that's going to be concluding it. Shout out to Western Digital for sponsoring the tournament. Of course, they are highlighting their WD Black series for this one. So if you guys are shopping for some solid state drives or even some good old magnetic hard drives that are intended for gaming, intended for any high performance tasks, look into the Western Digital brand, because they are supporting that which you guys are passionate about, SEA Dota. So some awesome stuff from Scythe. Arrow back to the drawing board as they try to figure out where they can change things up. But well played. Scythe going up against Titan in the near future. But this concludes our semifinals and our broadcasts for the WD Dota 2 Pro Series. This is Blaze signing off. Until next time.